10 of the strangest places in the world. Number 10. Gate of Hell. In the Akil province of Turkmenistan, there is a gate that the local people of this place call Jahannam Varda, or the Gate of Hell. The Gate of Hell is actually a very deep and large pit that burns permanently. Sure enough, in 1971, former Soviet researchers decided to look for it in the Kirkuk Desert, which was a large source of oil and gas. They were actually looking for oil discovery when they happened to reach the gas field and decided to extract gas from this huge and rich pit. The equipment they used for this work fell into a large pit in an accident, although this pit did not harm the researchers and the people who worked there, but the methane gas that leaked from it was also harmful to the health of the environment. And it was harmful to humans. Number 9. Salt Church. Years before this underground church was built, around 1932, the workers who worked in the salt mine created a place for their daily worship and asked the angels to protect them before starting work. In 1950 they began building a larger project, the Salt Chapel, which was finally opened in 1954 and dedicated to Our Lady of the Rosary, patron saint of miners. However, since the church was dug in an active mine, structural and safety problems led officials to close it in 1990. In 1991, the construction of a new church began, which was 60 meters lower than the previous church. Corridors and various shrines were found with small but significant amounts of carving left behind by mining activities. The dramatic light and scale of its proportions are absolutely fantastic. This salt church is one of the most outstanding architectural and artistic achievements of Colombia, and it is even considered a jewel of modern architecture. Number 8. Wavy Rocks. The Wave is a sandstone cliff located in Arizona, USA, near the northern border with Utah. This area is famous among climbers and photographers due to its undulating and colorful nature, as well as the difficulty of the climbing route. Due to the vulnerability of these rocks and the high demand of visitors, a lottery is held daily to grant permits to 10 people in person at the Kanab Visitor Center. The Wave contains interesting U-shaped formations left from the erosion of the Navajo sandstone during the Jurassic period. Nearly 200 million years ago, this area was nothing more than a sandy desert, which has been transformed into today's huge hills by the seasonal winds. The rocks of this area are yellow, pink and red due to iron oxide deposition. A few hours around noon when there is no shadow in the center is the best time to photograph the Wave, although the morning and afternoon shade can also be good for art photos. Number 7. Rangarnak Mountains. The beautiful and extraordinary mountains of Danxia have hosted many tourists from different countries of the world every year. The rainbow has come today. The Danxia rocks are recognized as a major tourist attraction, registered as a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 2010. The spectacular and colorful mountains of China are located in Zhangyi Danxia Geological Park, a vast and very beautiful place of mountains and earth with rainbow-colored rocks with streaks of fiery red, orange, cream, rich green and bright yellow, which forms the most beautiful geological layer cake that mankind has ever seen. The spectacular and colorful mountains of China, several hundred meters high, are the result of sandstones and other minerals that were formed by the tectonic movement of the Earth's plates more than 24 million years ago. Over a period of thousands of years, wind and rain have carved the rocks into the great variety that we see today. Number 6. Spa Springs. The white pools of travertine and shiny stones and the hot and humid pools of Pamukkale are one of the attractions of Turkey that attract many tourists every year. The mineral-rich waters of this region flow down from the top of the mountain like a waterfall, creating ponds along the way that are perfect places for swimming. The beautiful view of this white mountain from the valley and Pamukkale village is very spectacular and attracts every tourist. Even a pond in Pamukkale Spa in Turkey is called a cotton castle. Also, the significant ruins of the Greek-Roman city of Hierapolis are located next to this complex. The unique combination of natural and man-made wonders here makes it no wonder why Turkey's Pamukkale Hot Springs and Hierapolis are a UNESCO World Heritage Site. This area is one of the most attractive attractions in Turkey, with more than 2 million visitors per year. Number 5. Crooked Forest. Opinion about Poland's Croquet Forest. Crockett Forest not only has strange trees, but all those who go to this forest remember the horror movies whose best sequences were shot in scary forests movies where strange creatures are waiting behind the trees. The strange curvature of the trees at their bases has turned this forest into a strange and scary forest. The Crooked Forest is 80 years old, and it seems that the event that made them the way they are today happened when the trees were about 7 years old. That is, before the Second World War came to Poland. This helps to justify the most famous theory about the crookedness of these trees. In the 1930s, a group of farmers planted these trees, and in order to produce a certain crop, they deliberately bent the trunks of these trees into this shape. Like furniture with a unique shape. We can never be sure if this theory is true or not. Number 4. Paris Catacombs. Since the city of Paris was located on a very large underground tunnel, they decided to transfer the bodies of other cemeteries of this city there and named it the Crypt of the Dead of Paris. This tunnel was the same mine that they dug and used its stones to build the city of Paris. Almost 2 years passed until they were able to empty the cemeteries of Paris, but the possibility of transferring the bones continued until 1859. When this decision was made, no one thought that this crypt would become a popular tourist destination in Paris. A priest always accompanied the corpse wagon to pray for the peace of the dead souls for them, but as soon as they reached the crypt, the corpses and bones were thrown in a corner with disorder. After Napoleon came, the condition of this crypt changed and Napoleon decided to turn the underground cemetery of Paris into a tourist attraction and ordered to fix the situation inside the crypt, so that people are attracted, and the miners arranged the bones around the wall and made some of the arrangements in the shape of hearts, circles, and bones. After the publication of a pamphlet in 1810, this crypt became one of the most influential sites in France and, of course, scary for some people. To guide the visitors, several arrows have been drawn in different parts of the tomb, and people visited these parts with the help of candlelight. Number 3. Island of Dolls. Just south of Mexico City, among the canals of Xochimilco, you can find a small island with a sad background. This place is known as the Island of Dolls. This scary place is dedicated to the lost soul of a poor girl who had strange events in her destiny. This area has many local people, but only horrible dolls live in this small island. Their severed limbs, severed heads, and strange eyes have decorated the trees. As soon as you enter this island, you will feel a combination of fear and curiosity. It is better to visit this place in daylight. Even though the dolls look scary even in the daylight, the most terrifying moment of this island is at night. Locals say that the sound of dolls is louder at night than during the day, and the feeling of eyes looking at you bothers you more at night. In the past, due to the thoughts that were going on at that time, no one would set foot on this island, but over time, this island became a place that can be visited by brave and curious tourists. Number 2. Skeleton Beach. One of the scariest and strangest places in the world is definitely Namibia's Skeleton Beach. This beach is not only littered with carcasses of dead animals, but also several ships that have been wrecked on the sandy shores. The cold Atlantic's Benguela current collides with the extremely hot and dry air of the Namib Desert, resulting in a thick, cold fog spreading over the sea. Wind and currents combine to produce a force that moves relentlessly toward the shore. These conditions caused sailors to call this coastline, which stretches for about 1,579 kilometers, the skeleton coast of Namibia. This beach has been the graveyard of unlucky sailors and sailors whose ships docked in the shallow waters of the harshest part of the world. Although this beach is abandoned and scary, but believe me, it is really beautiful. Many of these remains and skeletons have been destroyed by the strong sun that shines or have been deformed by the salt water of the sea, but you can still see some of these skeletons and be amazed. Number 1. Chocolate Hills. The hills are grassy mounds. Their dominant shape is conical. They have announced their number between 1268 hills and 1776 hills. These hills are made of limestone and are covered with grass. Their usual height is between 30 and 50 meters. But the tallest Chocolate Hill is 120 meters high. The closest cities to Chocolate Hills are Carmen, Butuan, and Sagbayan. As the dry season enters and the grass dries up, the hills turn a beautiful brown color. An interesting point. Hershey's Kiss chocolates have borrowed their shape from these hills.